Good afternoon and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Swiss Korean Science Club, Intelligent Content Creation Tools for AR and VR. I'm Jian Lee, Junior Project Manager at Science and Technology Office at the Embassy of Switzerland in Seoul. We are part of the SwissNext, the outposts aimed at connecting Switzerland and the world in innovation, education, and research. Our monthly Swiss Korean Science Club highlights and promotes cooperation between the two countries in diverse fields of studies. And this digital version of Science Club, which we started last year along with the COVID outbreak, is giving us new opportunities to be connected, at least virtually, with our partners in Switzerland and any other places around the world. So it is our great pleasure to welcome you all here again. Today's Science Club will start soon with 3 speakers from Game Technology Center and Sejong University. The speakers are selected researchers of Korea-Switzerland bilateral R&D joint project call 2020 held by InnoSwiss and Kiat. The webinar will be under the moderation of Fabio Zunt, the Managing Director of the Game Technology Center at ETH Zurich as well. I truly hope this Swiss Korean Science Club will offer every one of you a great time to learn about the latest research trends in Switzerland and also in Korea. I wish our Science Club opens up new opportunities for potential exchanges and also joint cooperation between the two countries in the near future, and perhaps for the next participants of the bilateral joint calls between InnoSwiss and Kiat. Thank you very much, and now the floor is yours, Fabio.
Hello, also from my side, everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction. Yes, my name is Fabio Zund. I'm the Managing Director at the ETH Game Technology Center in Switzerland. As you can see here, there's a nice background. And with me here today is Professor Sumi Choi from Sejong University. She is a professor of computer science and engineering, and she's also the director of the Mobile Virtual Reality Research Center. And then the second speaker is going to be Professor Oh-Young Song. He's a professor with the Department of Software at the Sejong University. And finally, the last speaker will be Professor Bob Sumner. He is the Director of Research and Development at the Walt Disney Studios. And he's also an adjunct professor at ETH Zurich in Switzerland. So the Korean Institute of Advancement and Technology, the KIAT, and the Swiss Innovation Agency, the InnoSwiss, have a joint call to fund science-based innovation projects between Switzerland and Korea. And last year, Sejong University and Perfect Storm on the Korean side have partnered with us, ETH Zurich, and Disney Research Studios on the Swiss side to apply to this call in the area of augmented and virtual reality. Our project is called Intelligent Content Creation Tools for AR and VR. This is the title of the session. And we were very fortunate to get the project approved. And the 3 presenters are going to speak about their work now in this area of AR and VR. We will have 3 presentations. They are 15 to 20 minutes each. And at the end, we have another 15 to 20 minutes for Q&A discussion. Some instructions for the audience. Please use the chat function here in the Zoom meeting for technical issues, and please use the Q&A function. There's a button that says Q&A at the button to ask questions to the speakers. So I think we can start with Professor Choi, whenever you're ready. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for the kind introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Sumi Choi. I'm a professor of computer engineering at Sejong University. The Switzerland-Korea bilateral R&D project titled Intelligent Content Creation Tools for Virtual and Augmented Reality started a few months ago. Today, I'm going to talk about, briefly introduce and present some related work from my group. Companies across the world are aggressively investing in infrastructure and technology to support novel AR and VR platforms. The future success of these platforms will depend on the availability of high-quality content and experience. The goal of our project is to develop tools that transform the AR and VR platforms from a raw technology stack into platform for storytelling and interactive experience. Our project consortium is composed of 4 partners: Sejong University and Perfect Storm in Korea, CH-ROK and Disney Research Studio in Switzerland. Sejong University is conducting research and development on converged VR AR content creation, transferring user experience of VR AR content, and special effect based on situational awareness. Perfect Storm is developing an application system for fire safety training using tools from this project. CH-ROK is conducting research and development on character and story authoring and semantic scene understanding. Disney Research Studio is focusing on character and behavioral representation and is developing an animation interface that empowers digital characters with goal-directed movement and actions. Virtual reality is a technology that enables users to experience a virtual world based on multiple senses, using a headset that covers the entire eye. Augmented reality is a technology that displays information and content through computer graphics on objects in the real world, using optical or video see-through headset. Mixed reality is the merging of real and virtual world to produce new environment and visualization where physical and digital objects coexist and interact in real time. Actually, extended reality technology mixes virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, and artificial intelligence technology to create an immersive experience that adapts to user input. Currently, HoloLens developed by Microsoft can be considered as a form of XR, and VR AR can be implemented on the same device by using a video see-through headset. Korean side conduct 4 work packages. The first work package is focused on new type of content connecting between VR and AR to provide richer and extended reality experience. In addition, collaborative content authoring technique will be developed. The second work package focuses on technologies for recording, content conversion, experience replay, and transferring of VR, AR, and VR AR converged content. We plan to develop technologies that transform recorded experiences and replay by considering the differences in user preference, physical and cognitive abilities, and etc. The next work package is aimed to develop intelligent special effects such as generation, transformation, augmentation technology. This is based on situational awareness obtained from the relationship of physical space for the creation of physics-based VR AR contents. The last work package aims to develop a new fire safety training system that allows interaction between content and user in converged VR AR environment. The system provides engaging and novel content by applying experience guide technology using intelligent characters to be developed by Swiss partners. While VR teleports user to new world, AR enhances our present world superimposing digital information. When we observe a skeleton of a dinosaur in a museum of natural history, some area of the skeleton can be overlaid by graphic bones, and even its body can be overlaid on the bones using AR technology. Meanwhile, VR tour allow one to navigate the age of dinosaur. However, the distinction between AR and VR will be insignificant. The devices will converge and be multifunctional. So we will conduct research on converged AR and VR spaces to provide richer experience. I would like to briefly introduce some previous work from my group. We developed a first-person view mixed reality drone system. The rear scene obtained from a stereo camera mounted on the drone are synthesized with the virtual scene and the user's backpack PC. Our mixed reality drone provides an immersive experience and safe environment to drone user by creating additional virtual obstacles when flying a drone in an open and safe area. To avoid a drone crash, inexperienced drone users should fly a drone in a location with fewer obstacles such as a playground. In our system, user can select one of the virtual scene, including a forest, grassland, and city, and can fly around in the viewpoint of the drone in the desired location. Virtual object can be created interactively using physical object. For example, virtual large ring can be generated next to drone racing flag, which can be passed through to practice drone flying. Let me show a demo video. We also developed a remote training system for first-person view drone flight in mixed reality. Using the system, inexperienced drone user can safely practice the drone flight control under the guidance of remote expert. One of the simplest training methods is to use a drone simulator in a virtual environment to easily and safely control virtual drone flight. However, real drone is not used in the simulator, so the player has a low sense of reality. This picture shows the FPV drone assembled to be used in the system. For wireless communication, an NVIDIA TX2 board and a carrier board with an antenna were mounted on the DJI hexacopter. A drone player performs training on a real FPV drone flight control in the system according to a training scenario designed by a remote trainer. This picture shows the proposed user interface for the remote expert, scenario timeline, and attention dock to configure and conduct drone flight training. The user interface helps deliver sequential flight instruction to the pilot flying the drone in mixed reality. It also helps provide visual guidance that require instant attention or concentration. To perform the intended tasks accurately, the remote expert can switch between 3 different viewpoints, as you can see from this picture. Third-person view, drone view, first-person view. Yeah. Especially the user interface allows the expert to carry out interactions in proximity to the virtual environment. Let me show a demo. The remote user adds some obstacle. And simple scenario for training. In the training session, upper right video is the drone user. Yeah. This is useful for the MR-based education or training. Thank you for your attention.
So thank you so much, Professor Choi. That's very interesting. I think we would move on to the next speaker and then do questions at the end. Does that make sense? So then next would be Professor Song. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the introduction. So I'm very grateful for the chance to make a presentation today. My name is Oh Young Song from Sejong University in Korea. In today's talk, I'll focus on physics simulation of solid burning and AR fire applications. This is related with the work package number 3 of the previous presentation provided by Professor Choi. Let's look at the order of presentation. First, I will introduce the motivation of our research, and then I will explain real burning process of a solid, our numerical model, and the results. Last, I'll wrap up with introducing ongoing work as AR applications. We can see solid burning phenomena everywhere in real life. For example, in a campfire place, we can burn wood to warm ourselves, or we can burn paper to destroy the written secretly, or we can just burn a match to smoke. During these burning phenomena, we can watch many interesting features through the flame and surface of a solid. Generally, solid burning is incomplete combustion. It produces unburnt charred residues such as charcoal and ash. This combustion is a complex chemical process too, which includes decomposition of the burning object and heat exchange between air and solid. As a result, we can watch a flame propagation on the object and deformation of solid itself. Like these figures, wood was cracked, also could be broken. A sheet of paper was crumpling and match was bending while burning. Before introducing our numerical model, fire simulator, we need to know the physical process of solid burning. The act of combustion consists of these 3 relatively distinct but overlapping phases: preheating phases, gaseous phases, and the charcoal phase. Preheating phase is also known as pyrolysis. When the unburnt solid is heated up to its fire point, flammable gases start being evolved and charcoals remain. It involves the simultaneous change of chemical composition. In this phase, solid and gas are mixed up and heat exchange between them occurs at the microscopic scale inside the solid. For example, the wood as a porous medium has a very complicated internal structure like this figure. These internal structure can influence the burning pattern or pyrolysis propagation direction. This process is hard to model with a typical fluid solver solely because the solver handles fluid at a relative macroscopic scale. Second, the gaseous phase is when the mix of evolved flammable gases with oxygen is ignited at much higher temperature than the pyrolysis point. Energy is produced in the form of heat and light. In this phase, flames are often visible. Heat transfer due to the combustion of the solid continue to evolve the flammable gases and maintain flames. This phenomena can be described as a sort of fluid phenomena. In addition, this will change the internal structure of a solid chemically and physically in a drastic way. The last charcoal phase is when temperature is not sufficient to keep flame. As a result, the charged solid does not burn rapidly and just glows, later on only smolders. During this phase, non-flammable ash also can be remained. And also, wood transform into charcoal while deforming, such as eroding, bending, and cracking. In order to effectively simulate these 3 pages, we applied 2 methods. The Lattice-Boltzmann method, LBM, was adopted to reproduce the preheating page and charcoal page, which mainly with the internal change of the solid. On the other hand, the finite difference method, FDM, was applied to simulate the motion of flame, smoke, and surrounding gases. I'll first explain the FDM. FDM method simulates the flow of air, including flame. In order to simulate, first we divide the space into many cells of a finite size. The flow of the fluid in the entire space is simulated by developing an algorithm, our algorithm for exchanging it with the surrounding cell by placing some physical value, quantity, such as density, temperature, and velocity of the fluid in the center of each cell. In fact, finding the exchange of the physical quantity is the same as the solving this governing equation, which is well known as the Navier-Stokes equation to describe the motion of fluid. On the other hand, LBM has 9 microscopic lattice vectors in each cell. The vector represents the flow of physical quantity. In order to more accurately capture the exchange of physical quantity between cells. This method is useful when calculating fluid flow inside a solid with a complex structure. Similar to the FDM, the exchange of physical quantity in each cell can be expressed by these 2 equations. I'm not going to do the details of the equation. Now let me show the results of 2-dimensional wood burning with charcoal. This x-axis represents the generation rate of charcoal. The y-axis is the burning rate of charcoal. First, this is the case that generates amount of charcoal are small and burning speed of them is low. The left image represents wood and charcoal. Bluish color represents charcoal. The right is temperature field. Let me repeat. In the center, we can watch all components such as flame, smoke, wood, and charcoal. The color of the charcoal becomes red when smoldering. If not, the charcoals are not visible. Next, we'll raise the burning rate of charcoal. Charcoal shrink quickly. Flame also diminishes earlier. Next, we raise the generation of charcoal. Charcoal are generated a lot and keep their shape quite well because burning speed is quite slow. Heat also keep a long time. Last, we raise the burst rate. Although charcoals are generated a lot, most of them are rapidly diminishing. This demo shows burning cubes. The wood cubes are eroded, I think realistically, by heat and gas flow computed in FDM field, and the solid internal flow is simulated by Lattice-Boltzmann method. One thing to show you, there is a strong correlation between burning rate and permeability. Hardwood with low permeability, such as oak tree or maple, create long-lasting fires but are hard to ignite. In contrast, the softwood with high permeability, such as evergreen tree, catch on fire easily and burn fast. To simulate this, we perform this permeability test. Compared to hardwood, the softwood with a high permeability has a high tendency to catch on fire, since the surrounding air is easily percolating into the wood. As you can see, the hardwood are hard to catch on fire. Here is the conclusion. We developed a physics-based simulator for solid burning. For this, we introduced a novel LBM-based method for combustion of solid and combined it with the conventional FDM solver for air. Now I will introduce our ongoing work as a sub-project of a Korea-Swiss joint project within a few minutes. For AR application of our fire model, we are speeding up. We are speeding up then our simulator and make it work in real time. Plus, we are developing an AI-based object detection algorithm in order to augment virtual flame on real objects. Yeah, the last demo. This is the interim results of our ongoing work. This is running on Apple iPad. In this demo, flames are generated on the ground randomly. As you can see, it's not physical correct yet. This virtual robot tried to extinguish fire, but this character has not intelligence yet. It's just controlled by user. So yeah, let me finish my talk. So thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Professor Song, for the interesting talk. It's really interesting. I learned so much about how fire works, how the solid burn process unfolds. Great. So again, we'll save the questions for the end. I think we can move on to Professor Sumner whenever you're ready.
Super. Yeah, I'm happy to take over control here. Let me just share my screen and get Keynote running. Okay. Yeah, so it's a real pleasure to have the opportunity to speak to everyone today. Yeah, thanks, Fabio, for the introduction. I'm Bob Sumner. I'm here representing CH-ROK in our project, and in particular, the ETH Game Technology Center. This is a group within the computer science department. We work to explore the unique way game technology can impact research, education, and outreach at ETH. We already heard of an introduction to this project from Professor Choi. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I just want to say, our interest, like our vision in this overall area, is that there's really a revolution in terms of augmented and virtual reality coming. We're on the cusp of something really big, akin to the smartphone revolution that changed, really the way we interact with the world. We believe this will happen again soon, especially with augmented reality. Now there's a huge amount of attention from the world's biggest companies and biggest research organizations, but they're primarily focused on the core hardware platforms and enabling algorithms in computer vision and machine learning to make this technology a reality. What we believe is that there's a real opportunity then in not just the technology underneath, but actually the content that will live in this, augmented and virtual worlds that are coming. Currently, we just don't have easy tools, accessible tools to create content. And that's what we're really looking to explore in this project. We're not talking about just creating simple 3D objects, but really objects with intelligence, like a character that's aware of the world around you and can navigate it and even perhaps talk about it. So that's really where we're interested, especially from the perspective of the Game Technology Center. Again, the project just started, so we don't have results from the project, but I want to talk a little bit about how we got here, how we came to this topic. And I want to structure that around these 5 different categories and show just 5 snippets of projects of previous work we've done that touch on these areas, which I think really form the ingredients of the recipe that we will use to build this project. So first, starting with creativity. In fact, this is one of our older projects, and in a way is the foundation of a lot of the work we've done subsequently. But here we were looking at augmented reality and creative play. So creative play is when you interact in a creative way with the world around you. Right now, there's so much prepackaged content that there's a risk children lose connection with that those kind of creative endeavors. So we worked on a project called Augmented Creativity, where we used augmented reality to enhance creative play in a number of different areas. And this video is showing some results of a mobile app we created where we're enhancing the real world using augmented reality, but connecting it in this creative way. So you color in the coloring book, and as you color, that texture is transferred live to a corresponding digital character. Or here in this museum example, we said, what if we could make the kind of images you see in a museum interactive and allow the viewer to customize and interact with paintings in a fun and playful manner. So here you can throw balls of color to change the color of the character, can swipe to change his hairstyle, make his eyes bigger or smaller. So it's really just this sort of fun interaction. And this next example, we focused on music and have different cards that allow you to combine musical styles together in a fun and playful way.
Well, I'm working for my baby. I've been lazing around. I got a tidy the whole house, the mess I've been putting down. Well, I've been spending all the money. She won't give me any honey. Cause that's why I have been a slob. Get out and get some job. Well, I gotta start cleaning the dishes too. Wipe the windows in the bathroom and the downstairs too. Well, if I don't get too handy, she gets a little bit angry. I love, I'm working for my baby, I do. Well,
So that was a really fun first step into augmented reality, where we tried to bring this connection between creative thinking and the digital technology offered by augmented reality. And it really led to a lot of follow-up work. The next I want to talk about is storytelling with a project we call Behind the Art. And this really grew out of that demo I just showed of interacting with the painting. It's a collaboration with the princely family of Liechtenstein, who have been art collectors for hundreds of years. And we said, behind every piece of art that you see in a museum is this interesting, exciting story. But that story is usually not accessible. So when you visit a museum, often you see just a portrait on the wall. And the kind of concept of who's represented in the portrait, information about the artist who painted it, where that painting was made, how the artwork traveled over the years. There's all these really colorful, interesting, exciting stories. But you just don't perceive that. You just see that kind of painting. So with this project, we were really interested in, allowing museum curators to bring the story of art to life. We developed a prototype augmented reality application, which is shown here. And this is a test we did for the Switzerland Digital Day, where we set up a museum, kind of a mock museum exhibition, and allowed visitors to come and try our prototype app. So here you see a video of them testing it. We had this horse that could come alive. The statue actually transformed into a digital character that could walk around and teach you about horse breeding. We could show here the restoration process that different paintings undergo. And all of this is done in augmented reality with tablets. So we were really experimenting with different modalities, some more serious, some more playful, to try to understand what resonates with the guests and what are the different parameters for bringing this kind of concept of augmented reality into the museum experience to really tell the stories in a fun and playful way. We actually tested, we had forms that visitors could fill out and receive very positive response, in fact, saying they liked the technology and they would like to see more. And that really motivated us to continue. We did some fun explorations in terms of technology. So here is a student project where we explored the idea of animating the paintings. So we have a system that could, in a user-driven way, bring the painting to life by animating the clouds and the water, or even changing the time of day. So going through a day and night cycle to sort of give the painting this liveliness that really makes it more engaging. Another example on the more playful end was on animating the painting. So using your own face to then kind of puppet the painting. And here's some examples of that. So we kind of collected these ideas and marched forward really to launch an exhibition together with the ETH Graphische Sammlung, which is a world-class collection that ETH owns and runs. So we partnered with them and created a public app that we released for the exhibition. This is a teaser trailer that we used. And for us, it was a milestone because we could really take the technology we've been working on for some time and really put it in the hands of the public and see them experience this technology and the kind of idea and power and potential of augmented reality. That was very encouraging, and also we received quite a lot of positive feedback and a tremendous amount of interest really from museums all over the world after we delivered this technology. Now the next phase was to say, like, well, we could create this cool experience in the museum, but that's a very confined area. Could we expand interaction to the whole city, in fact, to really transform your backyard into an exciting adventure? And we worked on a project called Gnome Trader that really tried to do just that, to kind of bring cities to life with augmented reality and interaction. This video shows an example of a playtesting session we did in Bristol in the UK to test this game. The idea was that these cute, adorable little gnome characters are embedded in different places in the city, and you can interact with them in a playful way by trading seeds. Once you collect seeds, you can plant them in the environment to grow trees. You compete with other people to see who can really grow the most trees, and the team that does wins the game. So that was really an interesting way to bring the technology forward and explore it in a wider fashion. As we worked on these areas, what we saw though is that more and more interaction and the kind of interaction with the characters becomes more important. So there we had these cute gnomes, but the interaction was still very limited. It was through a UI to trade seeds. We really wanted something deeper and more, more direct. And that's what our Puppet Phone project tried to accomplish. Here we're really focused on kind of an animated character that you control in your environment. And you see the virtual reality view and the interaction here. When the user taps on the screen, it's as if there's a rigid rod connecting the phone to the character. So as you move the phone left, the character walks left the corresponding distance. When you move right, the character walks right. So you can really then, by just moving your phone, you can very intuitively control the character to move and walk through the environment. And then we can also implement other interactions, so we can interpret your emotions and transfer those semantically to the character. So here you see we can make the character jump just by pulling the phone upward in a jumping motion. If we pull it up too much, it transitions to this ragdoll animation because the movement didn't match kind of the physical motion of the jump. But we could take it even further to kind of implement these creative interactions. We added some snow to the environment, and when you tilt the phone forward, the character crouches down, and as he walks, while he's crouching, he then rolls up a snowball. So you can very intuitively kind of control the character to build a snowball and just carry the snowballs you build and stack them up to do what you would like to do as a kid and form a snowman. So once you throw the snowballs on top of each other, you can actually bring the snowball to life and then control it to walk around and even build another snowball itself. So it's this really fun interaction that has we're showing one example, but since you can interpret the motions in the semantic way and transfer them intelligently to the digital character, there's really a huge amount of potential to explore different interactive modalities here. So that brings us to the last kind of concept. Here I mentioned a few times during the talk the idea of intelligence. And this now I think is really at the border of what we've done in the past and really what we want to do in this new project. And when we talked about the project, we really said, it's amazing to have these characters, but the coloring book character, well, it's cool, you can color and you see it on a character, but you can't talk to her. She's not aware of you. Likewise, the gnomes, well, you can trade seeds, but you can't have a conversation. They don't really know what you are. Even the puppet phone character, well, you can control it, but it still isn't intelligent. So that's really what we wanted to explore, to say, hey, what if we could really create virtual characters that are embedded in our environment, but also have an awareness, have an understanding kind of the physical nature around us, and can interact with you, can understand you, understand what you're saying. These are some concept drawings we created just to kind of brainstorm, how might you interact? What if you had a dollhouse that had an intelligent character living in it? Or a storytelling experience where you blend kind of a digital character, an interaction there with a real physical toy. So a classic kind of animal figurine that children have been playing with for many years. What does that mixture of play look like? And the last video I want to show before concluding is a first step in this direction where we try to create such a character. You're going to see, this is done with the HoloLens. So you see the video of the HoloLens, which is an augmented reality experience. It's not on a phone, but it's see-through. So you just see the character in the environment. You can speak to the character with a very simple language. The character understands what you say and speaks back. And we use a computer vision machine learning system to recognize toys in the environment, these animal safari toys. So you can ask the character questions about those toys. I'll let the video play. It has audio, so I won't talk over it. I'll just let you listen.
Hey DZ.
Hi there.
Where is the giraffe?
There is the giraffe.
Go to it.
I'm going to the giraffe.
Show me some animals.
Look, there is the tiger. Hi tiger. Look, there is the gorilla. Hi gorilla. Look, there is the elephant. I'm running away from the lion.
Go there.
I'm on my way there.
Dance. Tell a joke.
What is a robot's favorite type of music? Heavy metal. Ain't that funny?
Great. So I think that's kind of hinting at where we're going in the project. I want to give a big thank you to the team at the Game Technology Center who developed most of the technology. Also a great thank you to our hosts of the event. It's great. It's fantastic to have the opportunity to share the work, and very happy to be a part of this team with Sojung University, Perfect Storm, Disney Research. Really nice. A quick advertisement. We have a prototype app that's a free public app. Some of the demos I showed, in particular the coloring book, this music demo, and the painting interaction that you saw in the very beginning, you can try it at home. So if you're curious, check it out. And then also, you know, this funding opportunity is fantastic to bring together the two countries. I think that, you know, Switzerland and Korea have a lot in common in terms of our kind of sophistication and really thirst for new technology and trying out new things, especially mobile technology. So it's really a great partnership. So the new InnoSwiss Kiat call is running right now, and it's every year. So please definitely consider that in the future. And with that, I'll say thank you. Thanks a lot, and hand it back to you, Fabio.
Thank you so much, Bob. Thank you for the fantastic presentation. It was really interesting to see all the cool demos. So I think now we're ready for questions and discussion, comments, feedback from the audience. Please use the Q&A tool. So post whatever questions you have for the three speakers. In the meantime, while some questions may come in, I can already start with some questions to the speakers. Maybe for the first speaker, Professor Joy, I'm fascinated by the slide when you showed that you would like to really completely merge AR and VR in the future, which of course makes a lot of sense. Especially because when we discuss projects and research efforts, we're usually thinking, oh, would an AR scenario be a better fit, or would a VR scenario be a better fit? So I think it's really interesting. Can you maybe speak a bit more about this? How would that work? How do you imagine that to look like for the users if you completely merge AR and VR?
Actually, some scenario is fit for the VR, and some scenario is fit for the AR. But we think about for the fire cases, you saw from the Professor Song's demo. In AR situation, we can practice some, for example, some especially tools and real physical tools, training purposes. And then, but VR scenario, and we can train for the some. How can I say, some different scenario in virtual situation. So we can want to connect to both the situation together, and a certain scenario for in the real environment based on real environment, we can create the virtual model using the real. For example, now I am in my office, and depending on the office size, we can create the virtual room size, for example. And then we can use some obstacle in the real scene. And then based on the real obstacles, we can create the virtual model like that. Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah. So there are no questions yet from the audience. Maybe then I just move on with another question for Professor Song. Again, thank you for explaining really interesting the process of the fire burning, and I think it's a good use case for AR, also in combination with VR, like you said, Professor Choi. What I was wondering is, how would the authoring work? I mean, in this scenario, who would author, and how would they author the fire scenarios, and then give that to the I guess the trainees to do the exercises?
Yes. So actually, our simulator is is a part of the whole joint project that should be included. Maybe we share some the common foundation in the Unity software, right? So I will provide an intelligent user interface for users to easily create special effects, such as I showed the fire or smoke or the flood. So users don't have to manually control the size, shape, and duration of a frame. So, and in addition, the flammable object can be automatically identified. So the spread of fire in the virtual fire can be simulated in real time. So I think in that way, my simulator can be used.
Maybe one question for Professor Sumner. In this project, we're speaking about, like I just said, so the content authoring, and nowadays we have such powerful content authoring for Web 2.0 and social media, so YouTube and Snapchat and Facebook, all these apps that allow you to create content for videos and everything very effortlessly, and so that's also the reason why there is so much content out there. And so I guess our vision is that in the future, in the virtual world, AR and VR, we would like to have also so much content, and we need these tools. How do you imagine that would work? So just top of your head, in 10 years, how are we going to author this content, and how are we going to use all these tools? How would our life be in 10 years?
No, it's really a good point, and I think you're getting to the heart of why this is so powerful. So what I believe is really there's this revolution coming where we will be able to embed digital content, sort of contextualized information into the world around us. So in a way, there will be like multiple copies of the real world, which can be visualized in different ways and contain different types of information. I think most people think of this, maybe as like the example I showed, where you have a museum and the curator is, including, information, professional information, professionally produced. That's definitely will happen, and maybe that's the first thing that will happen. But really, the big change, the most important one, is when all of the people are empowered to add their own content to the world around us. So there won't just be one set of information in the museum. There will be 100 or 1,000. And when you visit a museum, you can see the museum curator experience, but you can also tune in to what your favorite online celebrity thinks of the paintings, and maybe get a whole different perspective. Not just museums, but anywhere you visit in the world around us. So I think that's what's coming. How do we get there? That's a little bit your question, and I guess we don't have the answer yet, and that's what we're kind of dipping our toes in the water with this project, is to explore how can we really create the tools that allow the democratization of this embedded content. So in 10 years, I think we will have it, and hopefully through the course of this project over the next few years, we'll show some compelling examples of what that may look like.
Thank you for the very interesting answer. Great. So we don't have questions from the audience. I think we can wrap up. I would like to thank the speakers again for the fantastic presentations, interesting opinions and projects. Maybe just one last note for the audience. As Professor Sumner said, so the InnoSwiss call is It happens every year. This year, the submission deadline was at the beginning of February. So I expect this will happen again next year in beginning of February. Feel free to apply. It's a really cool chance to apply for funding. And yeah, thank you so much. And goodbye, everyone.